All right, James, so how are you doing? Would you like an extra 5 minutes or do you think you're good?
I think I need the extra 5 minutes.
No problem. Okay, so I'll give you 5 more minutes and then we'll take it up together. All right, James, so let's take a look at your response real quick. I'm gonna stop sharing and then I'll open up a document. All right, so let's take a look. So you said that I think that it's important to learn the local language instead of English. You can talk to other people when you learn the local language, but if you learn English, you can't speak to them unless they also know English. All right. If someone moved to a new town far away from their old town and didn't want to learn the local language, uh, we're gonna put comma. It can make it harder to make, it can get harder. Get harder to make friends. Uh, So I think this sentence here is already repetitive. You kind of already mentioned the same idea in the previous sentence. So we'll cancel this out and then we're gonna extend this sentence a little bit more. It can get harder to make friends with the language barrier. Now, if you were friends with them already but still didn't learn the local language, then you will get left out. Um, because this is more of an opinion, I would say you will feel maybe, or you may feel, I should say, may feel may feel left out. When you don't know the local language, it may be hard to make friends or talk to people. So I think it is necessary. We need to take this out. We're gonna fix the grammar here. Necessary to learn the local language. All right, so everything else looks pretty good. Now overall the grammar is good. And the word choice is great. Now, in your response, however, I think that you gave a lot of valid points, but because you repeated one of the points, it makes it a lot shorter now. So I think you can dive in a little bit deeper. Dive in a little bit deeper in the examples you give. So like, for example, how do they feel left out? Like, do they um create new group chats with their own local language, or do they speak the local language in front of you while you're hanging out? Like adding those little specific examples can really help the reader picture exactly the example that you're giving. But other than that, nothing much to fix. Great job overall. Do you have any questions, James?
No.
All right, sounds good. So what we're gonna do now is look at the quote of the day. Or actually, let's read the author of the day. So this is Ian McEwan. So can you please read his little biography?
British writer Ian McEwan started winning literally
So
awards
literary.
literary
Mhm.
awards was his first book, a collection of short stories. First Love, Last Rites, 1976, and Never Stopped. Atonement, 2001, a family drama focused on repentance, won several awards, and was made into a movie directed by Joe Wright, 2007. Saturday, 2005, won the James Tate Black Memorial Prize. His work often focused on closely observed personal lives in a politically fraught world. He wields a paintbrush.
Yep, awesome. So that is the idea, family drama, personal lives in a politically fraught world. So this is very relevant to how the world is right now. So let's take a look at one of his book called Atonement. So can you please read the background on this book by Ian McEwan?
Ian McEwan's symphonic novel of love and war and childhood and class, guilt and forgiveness provides all the satisfaction of a brilliant narrative and the provocation we have come to expect from this master of English prose. On a hot summer day in 1935, 13-year-old Brownie Tallis witnesses the flirtation between her older sister Cecilia and Robbie Turner. the son of a servant. But Bryony's incomplete grasp of adult motives and her precautious imagination brings about a crime that will change all their lives, a crime that whose repercussions atonement follows through the chaos and carnage of World War II and its close of the 20th century.
Awesome. All right. So that is Ian McEwan. This is some information regarding the book, where it was when it was published, by who, how many pages, and what language you would typically see it in. So now that we're done this, let's take a look at the quote of the day. So can you please read this quote by Hosea Bayou?
Real happiness is cheap enough, yet how dearly we pay for its counterfeit.
All right, so let's dissect this a little bit more. So let's start with the first part. Real happiness is cheap enough. What does this mean?
You don't have to pay too much to get real happiness.
Yeah, exactly right. Happiness comes in many forms, and oftentimes we don't have to pay anything. Right? No, nothing financially, nothing emotionally, like not physically. Like it doesn't take much to make us happy. Now, it's saying, yet how dearly we pay for its counterfeit. So what does counterfeit mean?
Like 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 same thing. I don't know.
So counterfeit means like fake, fake happiness, or opposite. So meaning sadness. So counterfeit means false. So like false happiness. So like when we say yet how dearly we pay for its counterfeit, what do you think Hosea Bayou is trying to say here?
We pay a lot of money just to get the sadness.
Close. Sometimes yeah, it can be money, but sometimes when we feel sad, what happens to like our mental health, like our bodies even? What do you think? When we feel sad,
We don't feel good.
we don't feel good, right? We want to kind of like stay in bed. We don't feel like hanging out with our friends, talking to anybody. Sometimes when we're sad, people don't like to eat. So there's many ways that we pay, for being sad. We pay with our mental health, we pay with our physical health, we pay for sometimes financially. So there's a lot of aspects when it comes to being sad and how much we pay for it. So like that is the message, right? Happiness doesn't cost much, but when we're sad, it costs us a lot. And when we say cost, it doesn't mean just money. It means, right, mental health, physical health, all that stuff. All right. Do you understand this clearly, James, the message?
Yeah.
Perfect. Because what we're going to do now is a task that's a little different. We haven't kind of done this before, but you're going to write an essay incorporating the quote of the day word for word. Now, what kind of essay you're going to write? So you're going to write a creative piece similar to a form of poetry. It's called spoken words. Are you familiar with spoken words? Spoken words poetry?
Um, no.
No? I'll show you an example. Of course, I'm not going to let you do this task without understanding a little bit more about spoken words. But the idea of spoken words is basically writing the essence of a message. So the essence of this quote is what again? Can you please tell me, James? What is the essence or the message from this quote?
Um, Happiness is cheap, but when we're sad, it like costs a lot.
Exactly right. So that is the message that you need to write for your creative piece, your spoken words essay. Now, with spoken words, it's a lot of emotion, it's a lot of adjectives, it's a lot of figurative languages like metaphors and similes. You're familiar with metaphors and similes, right? James?
Yeah.
Perfect. So you're going to be using a lot of that in your creative piece. You're going to be using a lot of adjectives and descriptive stuff. So let me show you an example of what spoken poetry is, so it gives you inspiration of what to do in this task. And then we'll move on. So let me just share the screen. Um, share sound. Okay.
My friends, wake up. I know that in your dreams you see the way the world should be, but we breathe in reality. Your sleep, it won't stay peaceful, even through a whisper of evil, and there is evil in the minds of sleeping people. Wake up. It's slipping through our fingers. The ability for civility, because clenched fists don't know what they're fighting for. It's not love. Wake up. There you go. Now rub that sleep from your eyes. Arise and reply to those cries. Tell them why we despise the lies of a hateful enterprise. Tell them that dream where nobody dies and no one gets hurt and no one feels the emotional pain of being told that they are not the same. Tell them we share 99.9% of our DNA, so we don't know them by difference, we know them by name or friend. And I would face my fears for the friends that I love, because love is an infinite blanket. I will pick apart the positive pieces of my past so that I can remember to thank it. Because every single little bit of whittle brittle love in life could turn the world into a banquet. But this is not for the weak. It's easy to sleep. This takes strength, because the heart is just a muscle, and humans, we make mistakes, but it's time to heal. Too long have we reacted to the things that we feel, and it's not true to who's inside us, because we've all had bad thoughts, but they don't have to define us. It's time to trust that difference is not a threat to us, no matter what it takes, because food for hate is what fear makes. But you, TEDx Perth, are awake. So let's make a loud alarm clock on the dawn of this new day, a harm block for the new way, with arms locked, standing strong, because this world does have wrong, but two are not right. We will end dark nights with sunlight to wake the world from sleep, because love is our weapon and we are armed to our teeth, and we will change the world with the words that we speak. Just wake up and make so much noise that no one can sleep. Thank you.
So that was the spoken words piece. So the title is Wake Up. We hear the words wake up often, but it's not just about waking up. What is the message that the speaker is kind of like bringing out? What did you understand from it?
I knew that, well, that his thing is that, like, love is, like, powerful.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I got from it.
Yeah, love is powerful. We need to fight our fears, fight against inequality. We need to make sure that we are waking up in a sense that like we're not like sleeping on evil and hatred and all that stuff. We should wake up and fight with love and stuff like that. So that's kind of the message that they're trying to bring. So then you're gonna take the message, a quote, right? That we learned. Happiness is cheap, and being sad cost us a lot. Now, the way you write this is very open. You can do it the way he wrote it. You can kind of like write it in a story, but still poetic, right? It's not like a straight up story. There's no beginning, middle, and end, but there has to be this spoken words, this poetic aspect to it, um, that's giving out this message here. All right. Do you have any questions about this task?
Um, yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
Do I have to rhyme it?
No, you don't have to write it.
Goody.
So, yeah, have fun with it. I'll give you 15 minutes. If you need more time, for sure, since this is pretty new for you. Um, so yeah, play around with the wording, play around with what you're writing about, but keep that in mind, all right? All right, so you can get started. I'll be here if you have any questions. All right, so let's take a look at what you wrote, James. All right. Um, hmm. Let me share the screen. All right, so you said happiness is great. We all want it. We pay money for happiness, but are we truly happy? Real happiness doesn't need money. Money we shouldn't have, so we shouldn't spend to get happiness. Shouldn't. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take this. Shouldn't have. Um, have to spend to get happiness. We or actually we'll take this out and just get false happiness. We pay so much to get happiness that isn't happiness. Um so this becomes repetitive. We don't need this. Don't forget to capitalize when you start a new sentence. Happiness comes from many things. Some that don't need money. Again, this is repetitive, so we don't need this. We want money. Again, don't forget to capitalize. We want money to buy cars, toys, phones, iPads, computers, and other things that don't make us truly happy. I would say satisfy our happiness only temporarily is what you should say here to make the point that you're trying to make. And then you say they make us sad when others have it and we don't. Happiness doesn't come from money, however. Okay, so this again is repetitive. I can see what you're trying to like. I know in the example that you saw, wake up, you've seen this phrase wake up a lot. So when you want to repeat something and make it like that kind of theme, just like in the example, wake up, it needs to be kind of like maximum 3 to 4 words. Happiness doesn't come from money. If you want that to be kind of your slogan, the catchphrase that's happening um throughout your piece, then you can do that. But again, it would have to be the exact same. Happiness doesn't come from money. So we would need to see that like pretty much every other sentence or something like that, that exact same word for word. If you're having a catchphrase or if you're trying to make a point again and again and again and again, and then it needs to be the exact same wording. It has to be your catchphrase. Just like an example, wake up, wake up, wake up. We're hearing wake up so often, but that's because it's catchphrase. Um, so you can say we pay so much for it, that we get the opposite effect, and it costs us even more when we feel depressed. Our bodies feel down when we feel sad. Happiness comes from family and friends. All right, but not from money. Family and friends are what we all have and not what we buy. So we all already have real happiness. Uh, I would say you already say this in the beginning of the sentence, so I would take this out and put a period here. Okay, so James, pretty good start. For your first time, it was in the right direction. You are talking about a general idea, a general aspect, which is really, really good. You're adding some examples here and there. But I would say that you need to try making a little bit more poetic. I don't see any similes. I don't see any metaphors. Would have loved to see maybe one example or two examples of those like throughout your paragraph. So it needs something of that, some figurative language. So add more figurative language. And also like more adjectives, like just making sure that it's detailed and more creative and and fun with and have fun with the wordings. Like it doesn't have to be so direct and so literal. There's many ways you can play around with the wording. What you have right here is a great start, and it's in the right direction of what spoken words is all about, but you're missing that figurative language, that creative aspect of it, to make it what spoken words what it is. So we'll definitely do this more often, just to help build your creativity, your word choices, and practicing your figurative language. So take the feedback that I'm giving you as much as you can. So then when we do this task again, you know what to look out for the next time. All right. Do you have any questions regarding the feedback I just gave you right now, James?
No.
All right, so let's move on to our second writing task. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show you a graph. Now, in this graph, what you see here is a boys' culture and leisure activities on the left and girls' culture and leisure activities on the right. So this pie graph shows the results of a survey of children's activities. The first graph shows the culture and leisure activities that boys would participate in, whereas the second graph shows what girls participate in. So you have like dancing, listening to music, stuff like that. Now, what you're going to do is write a report describing the information shown in the two pie graphs. So you're going to write about the boys, the girls, you're going to make some comparisons. You're going to play around with what you see in the data. Now, I don't want you to be so literal saying boys is 26% basketball, 17% soccer, 2% reading. Like, I'm not having you state the obvious. I want you to find real information from these graphs, make some comparison. Like for example, girls participate in reading a lot more than boys do. We can assume that girls are more literate. So stuff like that. You can play around with the data. You can say that we see that soccer, basketball, skateboarding, and maybe computer games are the two things that they love. So outdoor, like a huge outdoor activities and indoor activities. So they like to do more, like to do both. Whereas girls, you see a lot of indoor activities rather than outdoor activities. So you can even talk about that. So without giving you more information, I want you to find as much information as you can, write a report. And when you're writing a report, this is not first person or second person. This is third person. So you need to make sure that I'm not seeing any I, we, you, anything like that. It needs to be very formal. It needs to be written academically. So think about like what we have practiced before with the literature reviews, with the comparisons and stuff like that, and try to mimic that. Do you have any questions regarding this task?
No.
All right, so I'm going to give you 15 minutes, all right, and then we'll move on. Hey James, how's it going? Any questions so far? Confusion?
No.
All right, James. So technically time is up, but would you like that extra 5 minutes at all, or do you think you're okay?
I think that I'm okay.
Okay, yeah, no problem. And why don't you do this? Read over what you have, make sure that you feel good about what you're submitting, and then send what you have when you feel good. All right. So
Okay.
I'll let you take that extra minute just to kind of go over things. All right, so let's take a look. So you said boys are more interested in video games than girls do, so boys have a higher chance of having eyesight problems than girls do. Very interesting. So you can say, when we're making comparisons and then coming up with a hypothetical like this, it'd be good like saying, um, boys are more interested in video games in comparison, is what you can write here, to girls. Um, then you can say, there is a higher risk of boys having eyesight problems. And then we'll just end it like that. All right, so then you say boys that also like skateboarding might have better eyesight. This one is a little tricky. This one's kind of a far-fetched idea unless you have a proof to kind of show this, then I would say take this out. Or you could say that boys that also like skateboarding might have more physical injuries, right? Injuries. When people are outside, their eyes see lots of trees and plants, so their eyes will be better. This point I understand what you're trying to say here, but because it doesn't necessarily relate to the graph, I would prefer you to either leave it out or again find proof that discusses this. Yes, James?
That kind of was the proof for the skateboarding thing.
Like them being outside and seeing lots of trees and plants?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I mean by proof is like saying like, where did you find that information? So did you research that?
No, I just know it.
Oh, you just know it. Okay. So if you can remember where you found it, that would be great. It doesn't necessarily like again, you would need to for your reader, when someone who reads it who doesn't know, they'll be like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, for example, me, I didn't know that. But I trust you. I know that you know it. So I would just like to see some proof. Just like which website did you find it from? Where did you read it from? Something like that. Just so it can again make sure that the reader is not questioning the information that you're giving out. People that play soccer will also have good eyes because they can see a lot of plants. So again, yeah, if you're going off of this proof, then I would recommend again, adding like just a website. If you know it, then I'm sure it'll be really easy to find a website that has that information that you know. Most boys don't like reading, but the ones that do might be smarter than other boys. Boys that spends lots of time on the computer might learn some tricks on the computer that may help later on. Awesome. We don't need the later on, just say later. However, comma, girls like reading more than boys. We'll take this out. So girls, again, instead of saying so many times, we can say therefore. Therefore, girls might be smarter than boys. Girls might be smarter than boys, but looking at books for a long time can also harm people's eyes. Girls that pay the computer might learn tricks that can help them in the future. All right, so this is pretty good. Now, I would recommend finding, and this is just like what you can do either through the website that I gave you guys in the beginning, Manchester Phrasebook, or finding synonyms of might learn, or like finding different ways to say might. I know that you're giving hypotheticals, but because this is more of a formal analysis, you would have to write in the active voice. So saying might a lot takes away from the reader like feeling sure about the analysis that you're writing. So I would recommend finding synonyms of might just to make sure that we're not seeing this all the time, because then people start doubting your work, doubting the things that you're saying. So I would recommend just finding different synonyms and playing around with the wording a little bit more. But other than that, everything looks pretty good. Now, another thing I would want you to add is add the percentages from the graph. If you're going to say that boys or that girls read more than boys, add that percentage. Refer again back to the graphs that you're reading, just to show that based on the data, and then you would for data graphs, etc. Different ways if you can say it, and then going off of that. So when you mention that or mention the graph in your work, it makes it a little bit more formal. It makes it a little bit more solid in the way you're addressing data. Do you have any questions about the feedback that I gave you just now?
No.
Okay, sounds good. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm gonna give you a link to a Google document where I want you to edit it. So I am going to just take this out. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm gonna send you this link. Let me know when you got it and it works for you. This link should lead you to a Google document. Awesome. So I see that you're in the document. So what you're going to do now is I'm going to give you the rest of class time. I want you to edit this essay. I want you to find things that could be better, wording, grammar, any edits that you would want to make on this essay, and see how you can make this work better. So you would play around with the commas, word choice, anything of that nature. Basically what I do with your own work, you're going to do with the student's work. All right, so do you have any questions regarding this?
No.
All right, so I will give you the rest of the class time to work on this, and then we'll give you some homework. All right, James, we're gonna stop here. I'm gonna stop sharing. Let's go over the homework now. So, how did you find the editing? Did you find much to edit on? Uh, was there a little bit to edit? How was your experience with editing the work right now?
There was a teeny tiny bit to edit.
Teeny tiny bit to edit. And what did you find most? Was it grammar? Was it word choice? What did you what was the
The grammar part, that's all I was looking at.
okay, grammar. All right. So what you're gonna do is um for homework, you're going to rewrite the essay, and the topic is humanity and discovering talents. Write a paragraph on how we can discover talent. Use the essay as an example. So read over the essay, and then what you're gonna do is just rewrite it. The topic is about humanity and discovering talents and how we can, how it's different for everybody. And then you're gonna submit it in the forum on May 17th. This should be around 350 to 500 words. Do you have any questions regarding the homework?
Nope.
Nope. All right, sounds good. Let me just copy and paste the link to the document so you have it as well. All right. So yeah, if that is everything, if there's no other questions, James, have a great weekend and I will see you next week. Bye, James.
Bye bye. Thank you.